In this video, we will be talking about the domain and range of a graph. If you watch my video on what exactly a graph is, you know that the graph isn't the whole picture. It's only this line here, which is a collection of an infinite number of points. Starting off with this point right here, and this point has an x and a y. This point right here has an x and y. This point has an x and y. Each one of these points, there's an infinite number of points on this whole thing. Let's go ahead and draw a few of them. Each one of these is part of an ordered pair. They have an x, they have a y. Okay, so what I know about domain and range, I know that the domain is all the x's that make up my graph. So the domain is going to be all of these x's. So the x part of these ordered pairs. So if I went here, this one right here has an x value. Clearly an x value of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. -5. Okay? This guy right here, does he have an x value? Boom, 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 boom. Clearly an x value of -2. This one, have an x value? Yeah, that one is an x value of +2. So now you can start to see that each one of these dots is drawing upon this x-axis its own x value. So I'm going to have x's represented from this whole area all the way until I get to the end here. This x, yet he's drawing. This x, yet he's drawing. This x, yet he's drawing. This point, point, point. This point right here, it's a circle. So that means I go right up to this value, but I don't quite touch it. So I'm going to go right up to it, but I'm not going to include it. So what is that value? That's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So I'm going to go all the way up to 9, but not include it. So all my x's are in between the 9 and the -5. -5 is the smallest one. 9 is the biggest one. So now I need to ask myself, do I go all the way up to -5? Yes, I do. So I'll include that symbol. Another way I can write this is I can say domain equals, and this is the symbol for going right up to and including. And then I use this symbol for if I go up and I don't include it. Then now let's go talk about my range. My range is going to be all my y's, and each one of these points that I just talked about, they all have y values as well. So I can trace this point back. That's a y value of 1, 2, +2. This one right here, has that y value? Yeah, it does. Let's trace it back. Has a y value of 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. This guy has a negative y value. Trace him back to the y-axis. So this x and y point, I know my x is -5 here. What's my y? 1, 2, 3. So this would be a -3 on my y scale. So if I actually wanted to call this point -5, -3, I go all the way up to my highest one, which actually would be this point. Not the end here. See how this end is low? This is my highest y. I go right up to this one, and that is y of 5. So my range is going to go all the way from -3 up to 5. So all my y's are going to be in between a 5 and a -3. And this time I go up to both of them and I include them. So both of them is going to be -3 is less than or equal to y is less than or equal to 5. I can use the same notation as before. This time I use brackets for each one. Range equals bracket -3, comma 5, bracket. I hope that helps you out with the domain and range of a graph.